That's it. The Bears won, so they get a highlight. That's it. That's the highlight. Bears win 16-13 in what was one of the worst football games I've ever seen. Bryce Young looked horrible. Panthers offense looked horrible. They don't have any good players. Tyson Bagent looked a little bit better than Bryce Young. The Bears are just... This is interesting to see a daily sports podcast, news, narratives, takes, and gambling, but the real story coming out of the Panthers loss to the Bears, one of their few winnable games on the schedule this year. The real story is Al Michaels. Man, he ain't what he used to be. Here is the best play of the game. The Panthers had the best play of the game. We didn't open it with that because the Bears won. The Bears deserve to have something because they won. Let's listen to Al Michaels call this touchdown and just ask ourselves, hey, Al, does this matter to you anymore?
Run on their side. We got to match that physicality.
Trenton Gill fields at the 24. Escapes. Nice run back. Only one man to beat. And Gill down the sidelines, skirting the sidelines, and takes it all the way into there's a flag down.
Run on their side.
There wasn't a flag down. He just saw that on the screen. Someone in the graphics department screwed up, and as a result of that, it looked like there was a flag down, but there totally wasn't. And Al, that was his call. Not great, Al. Not great. Big weekend in college football, so let's start right there. Audio leaking between Lane Kiffin and defensive tackle DeSanto Rollins. Lane, so I don't know the exact story. I forgot. I remember this. He was, I believe, kicked off the team, DeSanto Rollins. And I think there's a lawsuit between him and the university, but he was on a mental health break. And I forget the exact parameters of the situation, but it was something bad. It was meant to be bad at Ole Miss. So the player recorded this phone conversation with Lane Kiffin. Listen and tell me what you think.
Here, when you kept getting messages, the head coach wants to talk to you, and you saying, I'm not ready to talk to him.
I wasn't.
Well, what world do you live in?
I don't see why you gotta be disrespectful, honestly.
Get out of here. Go. You're off the team. You're done. See ya.
Because I'm...
See ya. Go. And guess what? We can kick you off the team. So go read your rights about mental health. We can kick you off the team for not showing up. When the head coach has to meet with you and you don't show up for weeks, okay, we can remove you from the team. It's called being a It's called hiding behind and not showing up to work. If you would have come here when you kept getting...
Yeah. So the debate on right now is like, is this disrespectful for like a mental health situation? This is Chris Castanelli's response. Who's Chris Castanelli? He works for Barstool, but he has autism and is on autism spectrum disorder, but he's functioning. So he's a very well functioning, like, I don't know how to explain autism. You can Google that somewhere else. But Chris says, quote, it's not an appropriate way to talk to someone who might be struggling, but if you are struggling, you have to communicate with the people who rely on you. Not everyone is characters in your play. I wouldn't have kicked him off the team, but every coach has different rules. I don't know. I think my take on it as an Ole Miss alumni is that it's not a great look, but also at the same time, if you're having you can't just disappear. You can't just disappear. And if you disappear, there are consequences. Part of the problem with having mental health issues is that there are consequences for different relationships and things. And this is, you wish someone luck on their journey, but also if the head coach wants to talk, you can't just let someone go on a vacation and take money from the school. So it's not a great look, but also it's not, this person's struggling. And if they can't hold down relationships, including their job, this is a part of a disease. One of the big measuring sticks for how serious your mental health is are you able to function? Are you able to go to work? Are you able to maintain relationships with people you care about? DeSanto Rollins isn't. So he needs some more help than just taking a break from the team. You should probably leave the school and figure some stuff out. And it's good. It's better this happened. And if you're Lane Kiffin, I don't know that you want to be mad about it or mean about it, but it's also not, I don't think anything's that bad. I really don't. It's not the same situation as I think other people think that it is. Okay, let's get to some previews. Let's start in the realm of, let's start in the National Football League because it's gross. This weekend is horrible. Here are the games. I'm just going to list them as quickly as possible so that you can hear them. They're bad. Colts at Patriots, Niners at Jags, best game of the weekend by far. Saints at Vikings, mid. Titans at Bucks, mid. Browns at Ravens, really important and interesting. Texans at Bengals, rooting for C.J. Stroud, love that. Packers at Steelers, Falcons at Cardinals, Lions at Chargers, the second best game of the weekend. Giants at Cowboys, Commies at Seahawks, Jets at Raiders, the most interesting game of the weekend for me. And then that's it, I think. Monday Night Football, Broncos at Bills. So, incredibly boring. I do have some picks if you can see them right there. I like the Texans to cover. I like the Steelers to cover. The Steelers 3-point favorites. Texans 6.5-point underdogs against the Bengals. The Bengals are hitting their stride. I like the Chargers to cover against the Lions. It's a tough spot for the Lions. I think the Lions' schedule has been advantageous thus far. And they're not going to be able to cover those wide receivers unless there are injuries. Jags, I want to bet on the Jags to cover, but you just never know what's going on with these two teams. You never know with those guys. The Vikings being 3-point home underdogs against the Saints means that Vegas thinks that Josh Dobbs' cool story has run out. And that with a week to prepare, the Saints will be better. Pro football this weekend, incredibly boring. Incredibly boring. So let's go to college football. Game of the year, number 2, Michigan at number 9, Penn State. The Nittany Lions, 4.5-point home underdogs against Michigan. Why is this the game of the year? Because if Michigan loses, they're out, and it will be hilarious. They have to win. Michigan has 3 important games on their schedule, and they can lose only one of them. Actually, they can lose none of them. Now that Ohio State has beaten Penn State. If Michigan loses to Penn State or Ohio State, they will not be going to the playoff. Even they will be behind all of the other one-loss teams because they have a garbage schedule and resume. Just absolute. It's one thing to play in the Big Ten. It's another thing to just get lucky and not even have to play the good teams from the other side of the conference, which is crazy. Penn State, Michigan is an interesting one. Great games this weekend. I'm really pumped. Then, in the middle of the day, Utah at Washington. Washington's last real big test before Washington State. It's a big. I think Utah's going to cover here. 8.5 points. I might bet on that. I was going to stop betting on college football, but I might bet on that one. 8.5-point cover. I don't think that that old quarterback Cam Rising is going to be playing again. Utah's tough. Washington kind of isn't. Washington has really escaped some close situations since beating Oregon. Tennessee at Missouri. That's just interesting. Missouri lost to Georgia, and it feels very much like Georgia is going to skate through to the SEC championship, which brings us to the game of the year in the SEC, which is Ole Miss at Georgia. 10.5-point road underdogs. I have them linked up there. Nope, false. I'm going to go Georgia's going to cover. I absolutely do not think Ole Miss can beat Georgia. If they do, though, they will be going to the college football playoff, and probably their quarterback will be going to New York as a Heisman finalist because this will be the primetime opportunity for that person to showcase his skills. Jackson Dart. Jackson with an X and an S. Okay, so that's our weekend preview. Let's go through some more stories now. I've got a few, including this one. Rumors about Josh McDaniels. Does anybody want to hear some rumors? Josh McDaniels gets accused by former Broncos player who says that he got rid of Peyton Hillis, the white running back. Remember the guy that was on Madden? Because Josh McDaniels' wife had a crush on him. Is that not the funniest thing you've ever heard in your life? So the guy's name is Nate Jackson. He was just kind of like a nobody on the Broncos, 2003 to 2008. Here's the quote. He famously shipped out running back Peyton Hillis because rumor had it McDaniels thought his wife was attracted to Hillis. That's tough, dude. Joshua, what are we doing? What are we doing? Another story making the rounds on the internet.com. The Chicago White Sox lost their play-by-play guy. Why are we talking about this thing? I don't know. Apparently, this guy, Jason Benetti, is a really good play-by-play guy. Now he's going to the Detroit Tigers organization, where he will be their play-by-play guy. And apparently, this guy's really good at play-by-play, and the White Sox shouldn't have lost him. It's just more indication that they're a horrible organization, which makes me laugh. I like when bad organizations do bad stuff. Speaking of that, the Edmonton Oilers lost to the San Jose Sharks, who many people believe could be one of the worst hockey teams in the history of professional hockey. So that's bad. The Oilers are now 2-9-1 on the season. Here's a goal.
Away on Carpenter, wedges him to the wall and forces it out to
Odd man. Look at those teal jerseys. Those will be sick one day. And whoop. The idea is that the goaltending in Edmonton is so hilariously bad they can't do anything despite having by far the best player in the world. And things are bad. Things are bad in Edmonton. Things are bad in Toronto, but Edmonton, picked by some people to make the Stanley Cup playoffs, win the Stanley Cup, now 2-9-1. And the way that it works in hockey is a huge, crazy majority of the teams that are good will make the playoffs by American Thanksgiving. Oh, also, here's a hit. Want to see a hit? Here's a hockey hit. Boom. Was it dirty? I don't know. Nope. Shoulder to shoulder. Love it. Clean hit. Clean hit. If you're not in the playoff picture by American Thanksgiving, it's really unlikely that you'll turn it on. It's really important to be good by American Thanksgiving. Incredibly important. The Edmonton Oilers are in deep shit. And that is intense. I don't know why or how that happened to them, but man, goaltending matters. Back and better than ever. Sunday. Great weekend of college football. If you can't maintain your relationships, you really need to get your mental health. Focus on that stuff, man. Etc.